Hey guys, how you doing? It's KJ here from the scariest movie ever made and riggedreality.com. And I've got a mind melter here for you. This one's a pretty wild story. If you're familiar with my channel, you know I delve into some pretty out there subjects. But this one right here it's definitely, to me, one of the more interesting I've seen in a while. I like to look at symbols around us, the language of symbols, the way things connect sometimes. I think there's messages all around us all the time. And that is true. For those of you who don't know, I get into a lot of the, quote, Illuminati stuff, the Illuminati symbols and whatnot. But really, these people go by many names. But essentially what they are the devil's hands here on this planet. They are building Satan's kingdom, and they've been doing it for a very, very, very long time. So, hence the secrecy. That's why the secret societies, they're keeping this a secret. These are the enlightened ones. They know what's really going on. They're embroiled in a war that most people on the other side, God's side, don't even realize they're in. So that's what we're looking at here. To see the prison, you have to know you're imprisoned, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? So once you see it, once you get it, and once you know it, you'll see it everywhere, and it'll all start to make sense. So research the Illuminati, research the New World Order, all that stuff, okay? Anyway, all that being said, this case, okay, so I didn't do all the original research on this myself, the first two connections on this, okay? And I'm going to give credit where that's due, but I did find a third connection that I thought was interesting that I hadn't seen elsewhere, so we're going to pop that up here in just a second. But anyway, Elisa Lam, okay, so yes, found dead. But what makes the story really weird is within a few days of her death, they had an alleged tuberculosis outbreak in downtown Los Angeles in the I don't know what the district's called. I guess where all the squatters are, or all the homeless people, or whatever. So the CDC was actually called out there. Okay, I mean, I don't think there's a connection necessarily to what happened with her and the people getting sick or whatever. That's not really where I'm going here. But what's interesting is that the shot for tuberculosis that they were going to use down there, and you can look this up yourself, it's actually called the Lam-Elisa. Okay, Lammelisa, same spelling. So you've got Elisa Lam found dead in this hotel mysteriously. I'm going to show you that story here in a second. And now you've got, around the same time, the Lam-Elisa coming up in the news. So interesting connections. And these things happen a lot. Storm Sandy and then Sandy Hook. I mean, just kind of, there's always some kind of a connection. If you look for it, you see it, okay? So it's all around. Anyway, so that being said, let's go ahead and watch some of this. Check out this story right here. And pay attention, there's some really interesting footage here. They have like 4 minutes of footage of her inside an elevator. It's the last footage of her seen alive, and she's totally freaking out. So just check this out and listen to how mysterious the story is. I'm telling you. I mean, it's weird.
For weeks, questions have circled about Elisa Lam after the Vancouver woman went missing in Los Angeles last month. Yesterday, police found her body in a hotel water tank, and that's just raised even more questions. Here's Chris Brown with what we know about Lam's mysterious death.
It stretches believability that a young Canadian tourist could accidentally end up dead inside a water tank at the top of an LA hotel, and yet very little makes sense about the strange disappearance and death of Elisa Lam.
I just feel so bad for her parents.
The investigators have to be flummoxed at this, because if it is foul play, why did she act so odd?
The last footage of her in the hotel elevator is perplexing. Why did she press all the buttons? Was she talking to someone? Was she trying to hide? Coroner Ed Winters says perhaps the autopsy will provide some clues.
We are conducting an investigation into the death of Miss Lam. The autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow.
Either she met with foul play, or somehow the 21-year-old would have had to have gotten through locked doors onto the roof, avoided tripping an alarm, and then climbed up inside the water tank. The hotel itself has not made a statement, but it did send guests this letter, telling them to check out immediately, which this British tourist did, but not before she drank the hotel water for 8 days.
And the water for first 2 seconds or 3 seconds was coming black. And then after a while we would drink it. But it had strange, funny, sweet taste. It's disgusting.
Utterly horrible. Surely that will add to the notoriety of the Cecil Hotel. It was already on tour operator Kim Cooper's crime tour of LA.
Check this out.
Thanks mostly to the infamous Night Stalker serial killer Richard Ramirez, who killed 14 people.
And during his spree, when he was doing a lot of home invasions for satanic purposes, he was actually staying as a resident of the Cecil up on the 14th floor.
More relevant to Lamb's case is why was she staying in a hotel in such a dodgy part of L.A.? Here in Vancouver, it was difficult to find anyone who knew her well. No one could explain why she went on a California holiday by herself or what her state of mind was when she left. Chris Brown, CBC News, Vancouver.
So there you have it. Weird stuff, right? I mean, how'd she get past the locked doors? How'd she get past the security system? And how'd she get herself inside there? I mean, let's just be reasonable here, guys. I mean, come on, okay? So something went down with her, okay? And then I'm going to show you a little bit right here. This is from beforeitsnews.com. And it's outrageous creepy alert. So this is the one that kind of covers the TB thing. So check this out. I'll read a little. This is too strange, I have to share it. Currently across the Los Angeles area, there is a widespread outbreak of TB. Thousands of people may have been exposed to it in a deadly downtown LA outbreak. Coincidentally or not, a woman was recently found dead in a water tank in a hotel in downtown LA. Her name, Elisa Lam. The name of the test for TB? Lam-Elisa. Is this some kind of a test run for a waterborne false flag, they ask? So there's that, okay? And you can look that up for yourself. There's other sources on that as well. This is a guy that calls himself Montegraph. Does some really interesting investigations, so check him out sometime. But he was covering the story as well right there, kind of saying the same thing. And there's more footage of her in the elevator if you want to see it. So go to that site. Okay, so we had those connections that other people had found. I found was interesting. You know, I hadn't seen it in a lot of places, so I wanted to do a video. But what really made me want to do a video was when I was watching that news, the news clip I just showed you. And at the end, it showed the connection with Richard Ramirez, the satanic connection there, right? And we know the Illuminati are Satanists, all right? That's essentially what they are Satanists. They are the devil's hands here, okay? So they had that connection to that place, right? And this seemed like a ritual to me anyway, especially with the connections. We see these rituals all the time, guys. Look up the 9/11 stuff that came out in movies before 9/11. You know, look at the Super Bowl. I've done videos on a lot of this stuff myself, so check out my channel if you're interested. So, you know, you get the Super Bowls, you've got the award shows, you get music videos, you get TV shows, movies, commercials. I mean, the stuff's in our face at all times, you know, especially these public displays, these big displays, okay? We see these things, we find these connections, and there are rituals being played out against us, okay, for whatever reason. So the other connection I found, though, was this. I was thinking about it. Lamb sounded familiar to me, L-A-M. So over here, Aleister Crowley. I'm not going to go too deep into him, but there's so much to go into. I mean, this guy's life was really like something out of a movie. And I'm not saying in a good way. This guy was a very bad man, but he was a very powerful sorcerer as well. I mean, he's revered by most of the occultists out there. He was an occultist himself, a mystic, a ceremonial magician, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, look up Aleister Crowley. Look up his connections to NASA. Okay, I've done a video on that in the past with Jack Parsons. So it's interesting there. And also look into a lot of his occultic magic that he performed. He believed that he had contacted an interdimensional being, an alien, a demon, whatever you want to call it, okay? But I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to show you some of that, okay? But its name was Lam, L-A-M, coming from the most powerful magician, sorcerer that ever existed. I know it sounds crazy, but look this guy up. He's fascinating, okay? Again, not in a good way. I believe he was a bad man, but a very powerful bad man, okay? And he was receiving information from the other side, directly from these interdimensional beings. So wait till you see what Lamb looks like also. Lamb very closely resembles an alien, like a gray alien. So that connects also with the aliens being demons theory that's out there, okay? So yeah, one more thing on Crowley, though, I'm going to say, you know, check out his connection with the Bushes also, with Barbara Bush, okay? A lot of people believe that he's actually related to them, okay, somehow. That Crowley is related to the Bushes. And just check that out for yourself, okay? A lot of interesting stuff on that as well. So anyway, that's the video. I'm going to show you a little bit of stuff here at the very end. But, you know, thanks for checking it out. And I do believe this is some kind of a weird ritual playing out in front of us. For what purpose, I'm not sure. The Lamb connection here with Aleister Crowley just kind of popped in my head. I just want to throw that out there as well. But either way, guys, I do think this is a good example. And again, just pay attention. Look at the facts, okay? This is a weird case, all right? These things happen. So I do believe this is a case of some kind of a ritual.